All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here. We have made it. The brackets were generated. The games are going live, and I am all alone. Yeah, that's how Sunday goes today, apparently. So, yes, I'm the FourCourtJester. Today we are doing the Go4 Americas. The Go4Heroes Americas Cup, number 8 NA. And we're here with the first round game, RGe actions per minute. Going up against Mortem. Not two teams that have actually casted before. They seem a little bit newer to the tournament scene in terms of they're just getting their feet wet. RGe was actually in HPL yesterday for the season qualifiers. Unfortunately, they did not qualify, and I believe this is their second time now in an ESL Cup, although I was not here last week to actually cover them. Mortem, again, another team I'm not quite familiar with, but they are here and they are ready to go. We are getting into the bans, and looking at some of the rules, they actually changed the rules a little bit. They claim Tychus is global banned this week, although we actually did fix his bug. So I think the teams have both agreed to that, and we'll have to see if we do actually see any Tychus coming forward. But this is a round of 16. 11 teams signed up, 10 checked in. The brackets are a little wonky. You can use the chat commands. They're in chat, bracket or brackets, to get that ready to go. And we're going to be jumping into this first draft, and it looks like they have now finalized what they have agreed to, so we're going to be jumping right on in. So guys, without further ado, the first game of the day as we jump into the draft. RGe APM off to your left, Mortem off to your right, and it looks like blue was not blue, sorry, red. The guy's name is Blue, but Red was the first pick, first ban, and they ban out the Stitches. We're going to, of course, first Hollow. And actually, I lied about that. It wasn't Stitches. It was Falstead, the return ban coming in. Oh. Yeah, the return ban coming in on the Stitches. So third time the charm. Falstead, where are you? Ban the Stitches. Pick the Vala. So there we go. Now we're all caught up. Blue there, going to be picking up the Vala there for Team Red, Team Mortem, and let me bring that team names back. There you go. So, Cursed Hollow, the map for the Stitches. You go into it. He was basically, this was the big map that glorified it. It's a big map, a lot of hook spaces, the horseshoes, the U-turns, basically. A lot of pinch points here that the hooks come out really big. Hook into Devour or hook into the Wretched Bile. Putrid Bile, I should say. You can do a lot of good things there with that big combo, a lot of space control there, so it's not really a big surprise that he's banned. Since the new patch, he is basically just jumped right to the top of the meta list in terms of pick viability, so he is definitely a big contender. Likely to see him 100% picked or banned, likely banned today. Not entirely too sure why we have a Falstead ban. Epic Mount at level 20 does lend a lot to the mobility and the survivability there of that Falstead, but going back and forth, I mean, he is one of the two flyers with the big mobile option. I've never really seen him banned out here, and usually it is, you know, a Tychus who's globally banned, or a Tastar, or a Stitches, or something a bit more tanky. Either way, we're not going to be seeing the guy on the Griffin today. It will be the Vala first pick, though. Great ranged assassin, and again, you have the Falstead ban, you have the Tychus ban, that leaves you into a Vala. This is going to be a little wonky, I think, for APM. We're likely to see some specialist action coming out of them because the top 3 ranged assassins are out. Might even see a Rainer coming through, but we'll see. We'll go through this draft. Tastar and Arthas going to be the big pickups here for RGM or RGe. So they get themselves that frontliner, and I'm still calling Tastar the bruiser. He's still really in a good spot. He doesn't really pack the punch that he used to, but he is still definitely a very valid pick. So going for that on your team immediately. He wasn't the fan, so you get the pick. The Oracle, really good information control. Arthas, of course, for the front line. He walks away out of almost bloody anything. It's really absurd how he can just kind of keep going on like that. Mirrodin and Thrall. So I know Mirrodin, he was fixed in the recent patch as well. No longer has 21 health regen, has back to 2.1 health regen. But he still does have, of course, second wind, third wind if you talent it out, and the on-demand 50% at level 16. Still a very good engage, I'd say. I mean, he jumps in, he gets off the stuns, Avatar. We don't really see Haymaker really too much here in competitive, and at least on the NAS side. I'm curious if it's actually a bigger on EU, but that's another day for another discussion for another day. Thrall cut and pick for Postmortem. I'm a little curious about that because usually with with all the range assassins out, you're definitely gonna have to dip into some specialists, dip into some melee, but Thrall. We'll have to see what the kind of big counters are there. I mean, the big counters for Thrall is just don't let him get near you. He can't win fear you. That seems to be the big build of choice these days. And he will not be a big threat. If you also just insta-blow him up, big burst, that would work as well. But as I said, Taika's globally banned, the Falstead out, and Vala first pick. So maybe that's actually why we saw that Falstead first ban, and because they knew that immediately they had the first pick, they were ready to go for that Vala, and that kind of just screws over the rest of the range. I mean, we're down to Nazebo, Raynor, Sergeant Hammer, Zagara, but again, 3 of those 4 are actually specialists. Tychus is out. That means Tyranda's range, but she's not really a DPS. Raynor is technically a DPS for the range, and Jaina. Now come down to Jaina as well. Yeah, we'd be interested to see if we see Jaina, but she's just a little bit too glass cannon. You need that level 20 blink at like 10 instead of 20 for that big survivability. But if you do have a big front line, perhaps that can actually work. But here comes the support pick. It's going to be the Brightwing. So Brightwing, Arthas, Tassadar. It's a very survivable big combo, and they are actually going to set up the big wall here for Nazebo to come on out and play. Urapa! I'm no Cootie. Cootie can do that really well. Yeah, either way, that does get a little bit of the mobility back into the game with RGE. So if they do have the phase shift, you can keep the Brightwing into the opposite lane of where you think the tribute might actually spawn, and at the same time you can still go for the bribe. Bribe is still a very viable choice there on the Brightwing. I've been seeing Falsteads take it less and less. Power throw is a big meta thing for him right now, that extra range, that extra slow amount. I haven't really seen any of the other new talents come in. I mean, we did replace out Thunderstorm with Lightning Rod, so we do got a few talents there. Typically at level 13 you'll see a Static Shield, but basically past that, it's all more or less the same. Gathering Power over, not Overdrive, Overdrive. So, and then of course the Hinterlands Blast. They did rename it. It is no longer the Shock and Awe, although majority of us casters are still actually calling it that because it has been the Shock and Awe like forever. What can Postmortem do out of this? They got themselves a tank and 2 DPS. They need to put a support on the board, likely to be an Uther or a Rhaegar. Because a Rhaegar, a fight dog going with a Thrall actually makes a very potent combo, especially if you go with a shield build or a healing focus build. Just keep the Thrall going, couple his own healing with more healing. But it doesn't look like we're actually going to specialize into anything like that. It will be Uther, and there it is, the last ranged DPS. Postmortem is running a huge risk on this comp. They got the Mirrodin and the CC for Uther. So that's actually some really good CC right there. They got the pushback from the Raynor, and they can actually spec into a Rain of Vengeance and the Feral Wolves, of course, from Thrall. But they've left no other option here for RGE. Because the Taika's global ban, and they banned out the Falstead, they first picked the Vala. That left us with only one other ranged DPS, which was Raynor. But, I mean, he just doesn't really... He's more of a big single target guy. It's not AoE whatsoever. I mean, Vala, multi-shot build. Falstad, hammers and lightning rod. The Tychus, obviously, overkill and grenades. But yeah, that kind of leaves us in a pickle here for APM. They have one DPS and a bruiser, and that's of course Nazebo, who's basically like half, and the Tassadars. So they do got 2 ranged under their belt, and it looks like they're actually going to add 0 to all of this. So it's less damage oriented, more control oriented here from RGE APM. So I don't know. I Postmortem went really heavy with the deeps. I mean, there are 2 frontliners which are ready to go, but it's running a risk. I mean, they have just those 2 frontliners. If they melt, you have a very squishy back end. I mean, even at level 16, past that. I mean, yeah, Thrall can do some really amazing things, but 5-on-1, I don't know. 4-on-1, definitely. 5-on-1, I'm not too sure about that. Game has started, though. The draft is done, guys, and we're going to be jumping right on in to game number 1. Well, it's actually best of 1 here, so because it is around to 16. But Go4 Heroes Americas Cup number 8. FourCourtJester here. And yeah, this is our first round match of the day. We'll have to see how it goes. Two teams that I've actually not watched before, so I'm very excited to see exactly what they can do. What are they going to bring to this? Is the triple assassin going to be enough to take this game? Or are they going to fall to the control comp? You know, we got zombies, we got howling blasts, we got polymorphs, and of course we got the VPs, blinks. Lots of control here for RGe. We're going to be loading this game, find out. Does look like the overlays are actually still in good working order. So, without further ado here, guys, on your left-hand side, RGe. Right, and the talents. RGe Sports. Actually, now that I'm looking at, yeah, Sage, good. So, Rith Darkbane, Rife Darkbane, oh, I'm going Rife, Meadowtown, Sage, Pan, and Rephrase. They're making up your blue. On the flip side, Host Mortem, Dark Riz, J Sola, Blue, I think that's what I called Red Team Blue, Shatap, and Necromaniaco. Necromaniaco, that's what I'm calling the Necro. Level 1 talents, and we're off to the races. We do got that bribe on the Brightwing. We're going to go for some of that Merc play a little bit later on. We don't have a counter bribe. There's no Lily, there's no Murky. Rainer, I don't actually think Rainer has bribe anymore. I have to double check that one. But he didn't take it. He went for the season marksman. He shouldn't take it anyways. And, you know, with the Falstead band out again, just the only flyer here is going to be that Brightwing. Range increase, greater cleave. So it's going to be greater cleave instead of the reduced cooldown on Blink because, honestly, I mean, we don't really have a huge amount of CC. I mean, we can spec into quite a bit here from red. So greater cleave, Zeratul figures you can just do more damage that way, which is fun. Infused Hammer, not stacking Hammer, Infused Hammer. In the Mirrodin. And Mirrodin's actually going to be soloing here up against the Tassadar, so he won't die, but he won't win. I mean, unless we get a good gank or something all along those lines. It looks like I actually looking at the wrong lane. Who's the bottom? The 3-man gank coming in. Zeratul, Arthas, and Nazeebo. They do take home the Thrall. Thrall without that healer down here. It's going to have a tough time up against Nazeebo, especially with some of these ganks coming in. But here comes the Dark Bane. He is going to get off these attacks. The body blocks. I guess Blue Hood already jumped on in to Sage. So I'm just going to keep my eye crossed there. So we're just going to go back and forth, do some good things. Finish off the talents. Whoa, Wind Shear, got composite arrows. Yeah, right, that's the range. And Dense Weightstone. Extra damage for the Uther. Not Conjurer's Pursuit. Okay, so mana regen is going to be a little weaker in the late game, but he's going to try to make up for it with 40% more damage on his stun either way. I got to really, again, focus that Zeratul. Zeratul's making the plays. He is literally gone from bottom lane getting the kill, mid lane getting the kill, top lane gets the kill on top of the double kill up top. 4-0 for this Zeratul. And he did pick up the Gathering Powers. That actually puts 2 stacks now on top of him, and he's off to a really good start. Gathering Power now here for Pen as well, which tells me, like, if you're going to go Gathering Power with the Nazeebo, it's not really going to kick in. Not really, because he's not going to be able to, 1v2. He's not going to really be able to roam because he wants to be stacking, so he's typically going to be off in that side lane. Because you need the stacks, you need to have somebody in that lane anyways. Here comes Meadowtown and Zeratul again. That's probably going to be the Thrall, if anybody. Shatap is actually returning quite a bit of damage there on top of Meadowtown, but it's not Shatap. No, it is a Shatap. He died. The Bala is now going to be dead, and that's now 5 for 5 on these successful ganks with Zeratul going back. So, well, yeah, Pen, he gets himself a stack, or he should have. Yeah, definitely got a Gathering Power stack out of that. So, yeah, he's going to be pretty happy. On that note, everybody's now coming up to the tribute, 2 minutes in, and Rife actually is not going to get stunned out. So J Sola is not going to be able to take him home on that one, but he is taking quite a bit of damage because he is that frontliner again. It's really just the Uther and the Mirrodin that set everything up here. Can we get this done on top of Rife? We might, but nobody's actually going to go for him. Instead, they're going to go down here into the tribute, trying to just keep the enemy team off of it. That allows the Blink cooldown to come up. Zeratul is going to be okay. Blue, you can see his passive now going to be popping out. Meadowtown, though, with the interference play, gets him here. They get the tribute. 1-0 now, RGe. Off to a really good start, up almost 2 levels. No, that's 11 a bit, because we're about to ding for the 6. But during that fight, we did ding 7. You can see the level 7 talents now coming out as well. Skullcracker on Mirrodin. All right. I don't know. Blue is throwing me a loop here with the talents. I wonder if he's actually because Infused Hammer, like usually you'd see stacking and then either the sledge or the crowd control on his Thunderclap, and then into Pierce. But Skullcracker, that's a new one. Focus attack coming out though. Instead of the all right. So Raynor not even going for the basic attack range. He's going to go focused attack. Very interesting. We got the Envenom there on the Thrall as well. The double multi-shot there for Arsenal. Protective Shield. Now Rebuke? Excuse me? Is this a talent-gated team? I have to wonder. Can't tell, I don't think, from in-game, but Rebuke? All right. Everybody's throwing me a loop here in game number 1. All right. Static Charge coming out there for the Tassadar. Meadow Town with the Rune Tap, and he's going to have to try to tap his way out of this one. Here comes the Brightwing and the Healing Ward from the Tassadar as well. So he's going to be all right. Lots of return damage on top of that Raynor, on top of that Uther. They do get themselves a little bit of a regen with that orb, but Stone Wolves on Thrall. I think that's okay. I'm trying to remember. No, this is not okay. Where's the battle momentum? This is... I don't know. These talents are going really wide. Flight or fight or flight, that looks okay for survivability, but again, a big single target DPS. With the Raynor, he should get the searing attacks, but he's not. He's going to go for a bit more survivability. So, yeah, interesting, a little bit different. Right here, unfortunately, does run into a whole bunch of baddies, and we actually do got that Envenom now. Level 10 is going to be popped. Here comes the ultimates. Lots of damage to be had here for the red team. It looks like Shatap's going to be all right, but Dark, he's now going to be in trouble. He uses out that Adrenaline Rush. Not entirely too sure we can actually catch him down, but Meadow Chain, he's going to try. Meadow Town, yeah, and that's going to be enough with the blink forward. Writhe actually is able to pick that one up. Blue did just actually dash in, so he's going to get body blocked, and he's going to drop as well. I think that was 3 kills. Yeah, Uther's now back in, and 3 kills later, third tribute up 11-8. RGe is actually doing really good this early game. Here comes Shatap with that multi-shot though. He does actually have the battle momentum. I'm liking his more standard build in this case. But Meadowtown and Rephrase, they're going to be just holding off the red horde at this point. Just looking to see if they can actually zone out this tribute. And I think that we're about to fail on that regard. Well, there's one person there in that Void Prison. Here comes the Ravenous. 1 and 2. Finally putting a kill on the board, though, Red, but they lose 4 teammates and counting. There comes the hat trick. And, well, not, what do you call 5? Here comes the Penta. And the Penta was good. Ruther's just going to zone out a little bit more here on the tribute, but Blue's like, we don't need no stinking tribute. It's rough. When you're down 11-9 on a third tribute, you gotta fight. You can't give it up, but at the same time, going to win unless you get a pick, and those ults coming out very strong here for RGe, but from 3 levels up, we go straight here for the boss, and respawns are fairly low at this point in the game, so here comes the return. They're looking for a Meadow Town. Here comes the Mirrodin. He jumps right on in, but he's actually now getting forced back. Nobody's actually killed the Golem yet. There we go. It's now finally is going to get captured out. It was beaten on a few people there. Golem down. The curse is up. Blue is on low hit points. Should tap his way there in the back. We got a Chain Lightning going out. Necromania. He's thinking, yeah, I can do this, but he actually misses out there on top of Writhe. Here comes the Envenom now. Return, and 1, 2, 3. Thrall is dead, but no worries. He will rise again. We do got the Adrenaline Rush now being used out here by Dark, but he's kind of out of tricks, and that's going to be a death foil to the face. And the Arcus. Another kill. 15-1. The curse has gone off. The fort is no longer alive. This boss is starting to do work. We do now have, however, ults here for post-mortem. And they actually look okay. The ults, you got the Avatar, Rainer's Vader, Sundering, not sure, Divine Storm. If I have to guess, it's going to be Rain of Vengeance here from the Valor, but she's still thinking about it. Level 13 on the flip side, though. Relentless, Wormhole, Rewind. Yep, no surprise. So that's going to be a Rewind and Critter Round. We do got the Prescience here from the Tassadar. This seems to be a very big standard Tassadar build this patch. I've been seeing it a lot in a lot of tournaments. And Sprint coming out here from the Mizuda. So he should be hard to track down and get that kill. Why is Vala still not taking her ults? Come on, Vala, figure it out. Figure it out. There we go. She takes Strafe. All right, not going to try to counter control with control, just going to go straight up pure damage. The triple assassins are not working for the post-mortem whatsoever, at all. They're down 4 levels. They're down multiple forts. They've kept their keeps, although they're about to lose out this bottom gate to these. That must have been a bribe. Yeah, because of bribe there. Yeah, and while they're all busy, it looks like RGe, they're going to rotate down and get themselves another boss. And yeah, map pressure, game choices, map awareness. I mean, everything right now is in RGe's court. It's a very big difference between the two teams. This is rare. You don't see this much in tournaments, but we're about to be level 16 to 12. That is a 2-talent tier advantage for RGe. And here we go. There's the level 16 to pick them up. Double bomb, stone skin, Fritterize, the double with the dimensional warp, and of course, damage there as well. 2 talent tiers means they can roll in here almost 3v5 and just mop the floor, especially if 3 of them get caught by the roots. Oh, RGe is looking for blood. They got red in their eyes. The tunnel is down. They don't have a Zeratul, but there goes the Vala. 1, 2 little piggies go home because Uther there was that pig from the polymorph. Blue is poisoned out. There's no healer because the Uther is dead, and the hat trick is confirmed. Here comes now finally the Jericho, who links in bomb, and attack. 4 now down. Raynor biting the dust on that one, and that is very like the game, ladies and gentlemen, as we have level 16 to 12. Again, 2 talent tier advantage. I need a echo machine. Here comes the Void Prison, just to keep him at bay. That's not likely to do much here anyways. And the core is basically dropping like a rock. And, that is it. That is all she wrote. RGe will move on here in Cup number 8 of the Go4Heroes Americas. And a very strong showing for them. You can see why they're trying to come more into some of these games, but yeah, didn't quite make it into the HPL, didn't quite make it into the last cup, I believe, but coming out strong here in the first round. Their next opponents, of course, will have a bye, and it will be, who are their next opponents? Let's look at the brackets, because their next opponents are going to be Glorious. So, it might have been an easy win here on top of Postmortem, but up against Glorious, I mean, these guys, they know what's up. They've been around the scene a long time. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. I'm not entirely too sure who we're actually going to be following here for our next game, but definitely a very strong showing from RGe. Hopefully we can see more good things out of them. And we will say goodbye to Postmortem here for the best of 1, because it is only finals here, best of 3. I'm going to set that up, and when we return, guys, we will have our next match. So thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you after the break.